Hey, it's Jim from TrekWorld, and today I've got a special book for you here. This is The Center Seat, 55 Years of Star Trek. Now, what makes this book so unusual is the way that it tells its story. As a reminder, if there are items in this video that you are interested in purchasing, there will be affiliate links that you can find in the description. Additionally, please consider supporting this channel. The easiest way to do so is to press the join button on any video. For a mere 99 cents a month, it will get you access to private community messages, prioritized response to comment, exclusive live streams, and access to videos that have not been released yet to the public. Now, for those of you who may not know, the Discovery Channel did a special right around the 55th anniversary of Star Trek, and it was called, appropriately enough, The Center Seat. And the special was even more remarkable by the fact that it was actually in 10 separate episodes of an hour each, thus making the largest decalogy of Star Trek behind the scenes ever recorded and shown on TV. It's an amazing series. If you haven't seen it, then what are you waiting for? You can pause right now, go watch the 10 episodes, and come right back.
6.5 hours later.
Yeah, sure, I know that's going to happen. But you get the point, okay? So this book really had a challenge in trying to determine how do you write a companion piece to the actual 10 episodes. Now, one of the things I want to point out is this book is a 2021 edition that was updated by Peter Holstrom, the original author. It had been printed around the 50th anniversary, so this is actually an updated revision, okay? I have not seen the original copy yet. Maybe I'll go out and grab one just to compare them to the two. I'm not sure beyond the author's forewords about whether or not there's any substantial changes inside. But if you're looking for this guy on the cheap, the earlier version generally costs less than the newer one. Now, one of the things I want to point out in here is the way they actually tell their story. Right? And they're going to pull, as I'm looking through here, you're going to see, they're going to pull stories, whole stories, direct from Starlog, okay? Which is actually a pretty good idea. Right. And then the balance is actually made up with interviews that they've done from the cast. I think you can't get two more authoritative sources. Starlog, of course, was pretty much the Bible for us in the 1970s and early 80s, actually really throughout even the 80s. And then, of course, who better to talk about Star Trek than the people who made it? I do want to call attention to a couple things that I think this does a really, really good job of addressing, okay? One of them is the myth that Gene Roddenberry invented reruns, or that he was the person who saw the value of reruns, okay? And I don't honestly know if they had occurred to him when he was doing The Lieutenant. And my suspicion is they didn't, because as best as my knowledge is, they never actually put The Lieutenant in reruns. And so therefore, and we know enough about Gene that if it actually make him any money at all, he would push for it. He was actually pretty proud of some of the stories that he did in Lieutenant. So I think that he would have entered them into rerun had he had the chance. The actual entire concept of reruns was actually invented by Desi Arnaz. Now, when Desi and Lucy were making I Love Lucy, Desi was negotiating, of course, the TV contract with them, and he saw value in the ability to be able to show an episode after it has been seen once. If you have any videos, photos, or documents that you would like to donate to us, please feel free to send them to Jim at trek-world.com or submit them via the web at submit.trek-world.com. He didn't necessarily know exactly how he was going to use it, but he saw it intrinsically, and Desi Arnaz was a genius when it comes to television production. And he really gets the short straw when compared with Lucy by Star Trek fans, because many of the things that Lucy did, she did because Desi had taught her, okay? Also, another thing is, after Desi and Lucy got divorced, they stayed very good friends. So Desi was around to assist with questions. Should I do that? Should I do this? Now, going back all the way to the beginning of I Love Lucy again, when Desi approached the network about producing the show, they were a little bit taken aback by his approach. Most TV shows were filmed live in front of an audience quite often, just a single fixed camera. They're generally shot live on New York, so that they can be tape delayed and then shown on the West Coast later. And the tape delay is really cheating to call it that. They were called kinescopes. And the best example I can give you of kinescopes were recorded not from the cameras. They were recorded from the monitors that did the playback at the studio. So while the episode is being aired, there's a screen right over here with a TV monitor showing the episode as it's going out on the air, and somebody is recording that screen, okay? Kinescopes became world famous for most people when Jackie Gleason came out in, I believe, the 1990s and revealed that he had saved all of the kinescopes for the Honeymooners. And everybody had believed for decades that they had been lost. So, he strikes the deal with Showtime, the Honeymooners comes back, everybody's happy, and a boatload of money is made. So now you know what a kinescope is, and that's what CBS wanted. Desi wanted to film on film in front of a studio audience on the West Coast, not the East Coast, and he then wanted to be able to edit that footage to produce the TV show. So CBS is going, well, great idea, but we're not going to pay for that because we don't pay that for anybody. And so Desi goes, well, I'll tell you what then. We'll pay for the expense if in exchange you give us the right to reruns. And I don't know if he invented the word then or there or not. I don't know. But, the network's response was, what's a rerun? And he goes, oh, it's the ability to, to be able to broadcast that again after the first time. The network had no idea what he was talking about as far as value was concerned. They'd never really had the desire to do that. So they said, okay, fine. Well, we'll give you the rerun rights, okay? And you can pay the expense, and it's a win-win for the network because they get the higher quality that Desi wanted, and they get the lower cost that they wanted. What they didn't realize was how much giving up those reruns were going to cost. Okay, you like the video, so go ahead and do me a favor. Click that like button so that YouTube will know to show this video to more people. And the reason for that is that when the first season of I Love Lucy came on, to say that it was a phenomena is the understatement of the year. We would not even be talking about Desi or Lucy had it not been for I Love Lucy, and it took the United States by storm. So, they air the episodes each week, and lo and behold, they come to the end of the season after, 20-some apparent episodes, and they realize if we had more of I Love Lucy, we could actually show this in the in-between hiatus between seasons being produced. So they went back to our buddy Desi Arnaz and they said, that stuff you told us about, those reruns that you got, we'd like to be able to show them while the show's in hiatus. And our friend Desi said, no problem, just pay me $1 million. Now think about that. Just pay me $1 million in the mid-1950s for something that he had seen value in that the networks had never even considered. That, ladies and gentlemen, was the birth of the rerun, and Desi and Lucy became, overnight, the single most recognized authorities on the entire economics of reruns. So, if Gene wanted the reruns because he had seen Desilu do it with I Love Lucy, then yes, Gene would have insisted on reruns. Desilu definitely insisted on the ability to do reruns, and you will note that the reruns for Star Trek, the money did not go entirely to Gene. It went to the partnership between Desilu and Norway Productions, which of course was Gene's company. So they kept a piece of Star Trek because they knew exactly what they were going to get. And then of course Gene structured the contracts with talent around residuals, which was another thing that a lot of people had not heard of at the time. And that was that the actors themselves earned money on each subsequent re-release of the episode. But even Gene could not calculate how many times those episodes would be shown in the 1970s. So each time an episode was shown, the actors and talent got less and less, to the point that by the time Star Trek became the international phenomenon that you and I remember in the mid-1970s, they had already received the last few pennies from their episodes. So the fandom around conventions and public appearances became the livelihood of a lot of these stars in the beginning because they did not transfer well. It tells you about Gene, and it tells you some other things that you may not be aware of. I don't want to spoil it because really I want you to watch the series first, then go back and read the book. It's an incredible distillation of what you're going to actually see in the actual 10-part series.